so let's dive in here and take a look at this pack. So there it is. It is Zedd. This track is Clarity featuring Foxes. To get to this one, all you need to do is go to your sound library, tap on that one. And then here, let's jump in and check out Zedd, and we can open the pack. Now, the way this works, so it's a live loops grid. And the way it works is instead of it actually creating a live loops grid, it creates a project. So as soon as you hit open here, it'll say, would you like to close the sound library and reveal it in the document browser? Yes, I would. So we're going to hit the reveal and pop it out there. And there it is. So there's this project. What I recommend you do whenever you do something like this is usually do a duplicate first, just so that you're playing around with another version. So I'm not playing around with the original version. You can always re-download it and come back to it, but yeah, it's not worth it. Now, the one thing I'm not going to do, okay, here it is. Here's the little note. So this one says, this song is provided to GarageBand users in live loops format for personal use, blah, 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 blah. Basically, you can't use this in your commercial releases. You can play with it right now. I can kind of demo it based under fair use for you right now, but I'm going to do a couple of little things to protect myself. I'm not going to play the vocals of the track, and I'm going to change things up a little bit. So we're going to say okay to that. Now, if you've never used live loops before, heap of videos here on the channel. We're not going to go through a full live loops tutorial, but the way it works is you've got different rows here. And each of these rows, if we slide this out, each of these rows are a different thing. So there's the lead vocal, there's your BGs, your backing vocals, there's your drums, your bass, your keyboards, and your sound effects. Now you can play an entire column of each of these, and you can see down the bottom here we have all the columns. You've got intro, you've got verse, you've got pre-chorus, chorus, post-chorus, etc. So what you can do to do this is hit the record button and start tapping in things and experimenting and playing with it. And you can remix the song and you can have fun with it. And this isn't going to be for everyone, but it is a great learning tool. My daughters love playing with these because they're playing with songs that they know and artists that they know, and they're just experimenting and having fun with music. And it is teaching them about song structure. So it's teaching them what actually goes into an intro and a verse and a chorus and how to build a song and how to actually build up an arrangement. What are we going to do to change it? What do I recommend you do? For those that have been playing along at home for a while, whenever you're using loops or samples, change them up. Chop them up, change them up. First thing we can do here is we can go to the settings here, and because all these are beat matched and pitch matched, we can change the beat, we can change the pitch. So let's first of all, this is at 128. Let's make this a little bit more intense. Let's actually bump this up. So you can either tap on each of these or you can tap, hold and drag. Let's go a little bit insane and put this up to like 160. As the tempo, just for fun. So we've upped the tempo there, and you can see here it's in F minor. The other thing I'd suggest you always do is just change this up. So F minor, not a big fan of F minor. Let's bring this one down to D minor, shall we? So we've changed the key signature and we've changed the BPM. And that's just going to give us something a little bit different. Now, I've been playing around with this a little bit before, and there's a couple of things that I really dig here. I like some of these sound effects. We've got like a crash there, and we've got a nice stereo effect drum sound there. And I actually really like this bass riff. Now, again, this bass riff may get this claimed, but I'm hoping not. I'm hoping if we just use it because we've changed the speed, because we've changed the pitch, hopefully it won't. But this bass riff sounds like this. And I actually think that sounds kind of punky. It kind of sounds like some, early 2000s, late 90s kind of punk sound. So we'll turn the volume up of that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just create a little ditty here that's going to use this bass sound. And then I'm going to add in some of these drum effects. So let's hit the record button. Let's hit the drum, the bass. I'm going to hit this drum here, right at this point. Then stop it. All right, I've missed the spot there. That's okay. We can retry this because I wanted to then go to a different drum, to the beat of a different drum.
Says she want to dance to a different group.
So let's just remove that. Delete there. And, I deleted everything. Don't delete everything. Tap out, tap in, tap that, and delete. And I also want this one to go a little bit longer so that when it hits this part here, all right, now we want this to kick in with some drums. So we can go back to our live loops grid and we can get ourselves prepared. So we want that same bass riff, this one here, and we want to bring some drums in with it. So probably like something like this. No, that's not the one. We want this one. Nope, that's not the one either. Yeah, let's bring the little hi-hat in there just as a little bit extra. So again, we'll tap this. Just to tick it along. And then, let's hit the drums hard here. And then we want to hit it with some drums. We'll just let this play out. All right, I think we've got a little bit of a bass here, something to work on. So again, we've taken this song, and if you've heard the original song, it sounds kind of nothing like this. This is pretty different from the original song. It's very much a pop song, and I've tried to make it something a little bit dirtier and grungier here. So you might have noticed here that what we can do is move between your live loops grid and your track view. And this is something that a lot of folks sort of don't realize when you start playing around with this, that if you're used to track view, you can actually jump between the two. So if we jump over here to the track view, we can actually see this track being created. So we can now start playing around with this. Now, a couple of things I want to do. Again, I want to change this bass sound a little bit. It's a nice bass tone, but remember how earlier I mentioned that we had some cool sound packs here, like the Bass Amp Boutique? Well, what we can actually do is we can grab a bass sound here, and we can use some different bass tones. So if we tap here on this bass tone, and instead of going with the clean sound, let's go to a process sound, and let's try some like filter funk. And what we can actually do is we can move this audio down to there. So we've got all this bass sound here. We want to move it down to there. So what I'm going to do is tap on, hold it, and just drag all this and pop it down here on this one. Did that move everything? Why did it not move the rest of it there? Well, let's just try and move it one by one. Boop, and this, that's better. Oh, it lost it. It lost its tail. It lost its loop. We're going to have to re-loop it out. That was weird. All right, so now let's take a listen to this through this filter funk bass sound. So we can play around with that. Now, I don't know about this build up here, so I'm actually going to delete that build up, and I'm just going to go straight into these drums, because I reckon this drum sound's going to be better to go with. We'll just loop that out the rest of the way, and that way it'll just kick straight into this with these. Well, maybe I did like the build up. All right, I've got to go. I've changed my mind. I'm going back to the build-up. So there's a couple of things there. And then as you get down to here, you saw that I played around by just popping in a few of these different sort of effect sounds here. There you go. Yeah, I agree. The build-up was good, and we're gonna leave that one in there because I didn't mind that build-up. Sounded good. So what we can now do. So we've got a basses here, and yeah, we've used this. Technically, I can't use this, and we've talked about that before. But I'm going to grab a guitar. Here's one I prepared earlier. I've got my old Epiphone Les Paul here, and I want to create, because this is sounding more like a kind of punky rock track. So I want a bit of a punk sound in here. So what we're going to do is we're going to add ourselves a guitar amp. We're going to go to a distorted tone, and let's just leave the glam rock on for now. I don't use the glam rock very often. So if we go here, we're going to go to input 2, which is where I've got my guitar plugged in. We are going to turn the monitoring on. All right, so I think we're going to be able to play some sort of cool lead riff over the top. And what we'll do, we'll use our dummy track method here so we can stay on here. If you're not familiar with the dummy track method, it's very cool. You just duplicate your track, you go into the amp here, and we change this one to be on input 1. This way we can basically, if you're using a 2-channel interface, you can record 2 different sounds on the track view screen without jumping out to that screen. So all we need to do now is set both of those to record, and we can record out here. So I don't think my guitar's very tuned. So this is a good opportunity to show you that we have a guitar tuner here. So yeah, here in GarageBand, you can actually tap on this button here, and you've got a built-in guitar tuner. And you can see exactly how out of tune, how flat my guitar was. So I reckon just from here. Was that in the ballpark? Not really. So we'll just take the start off there and just play this back. And yes, guitar desperately needs a setup. The intonation on this thing is rough. As you heard there, I'm like hitting a note and it's like, ooh, she was flat, wasn't she? Yeah, not great. Really what I wanted to prove with this is that we can start playing around and adding different sounds to this. Let's just, what's the chord progression of this one? So let's just duplicate this out, and just for one final bit of shits and giggles, we'll come in here and we'll throw on one of my favorite distorted tones in here, which is the Seattle sound, because it sounds like Seattle, and we'll just try and record some bar chords in here to go along with this, shall we? Yeah, we'll experiment with that a little bit later, because I don't think it was quite in the pocket. Yeah, let's just put these guitar sounds up here and see if this is going to work up here. Yeah. So what I wanted to show with this is that you don't have to stick to the formula. You don't have to use these in the way that they're probably intended to be used, because we use none of the vocals here. We just found a cool bass riff, some cool drums and effects, and then we processed them and we mixed them and then we added to them and we had some fun. So to me, that's what music is about a lot of the time. So hopefully you enjoyed that, and you'll go and play around with these things yourself, because there's plenty of sounds in there, and especially if you're kind of getting stuck and you don't know what to do, you know what? Load up your AI, use your ChatGPT to write yourself some lyrics, and then use a live loop sample grid and create yourself a masterpiece.